Hi, welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. Yes, it's an early morning. I thought I'd get up. I didn't edit much of my videos from yesterday, so I thought I'd get an early start and realized that this video that I started to record wasn't recording. So, hi, welcome back again. Today I want to talk about your supply chains. Now, what happens if we go through what we went through 2 years ago, where all the necessity items were bought out? Oh God, the empty shelves. How would you get the supplies you need? Luckily, I was able to get a lot of stuff through Amazon, and this is not a sponsor for Amazon, but you have to have a backup plan to what your supplies are. If the drugstore I deal with couldn't get my insulin, I would have to set up with another drugstore. Yeah, that sounds easy, but it's a pain, because a lot of times they have to see a prescription from the doctor. Yeah, wonderful, but hey, I'm low on insulin. And just an example of how this can come into play, Humalog insulin is a rapid-acting insulin. It gets into the system, gets out quickly. A lot of people liked the insulin but didn't want to pay, and when it became a generic version, everyone was out to get it. And now my diabetic supplier is offering me the same, and I'm lucky there. But, I was on Fiasp for a while, but there was always problems getting that. I would always have to go to a doctor's office to pick it up. And, it didn't really work well. Now, no one really wants to go, okay, I'll go to this drugstore for that, this drugstore for that. The grocery store has a drugstore in it, I'll go there. No one really wants to do that. But you need to have plans in place. You could go to another pharmacy quite quickly if you have a prescription. My pharmacy has been pretty good, and I think a lot of them tried to do the best they can. But if their suppliers don't have any, the pharmacy isn't magically going to have stock. And I have standing orders in a lot of these places, and if they notice a shortage is coming up, they'll either give me a lot of notice, or they will start saving a few items for me. I may not get my full order, but I get a couple of pieces to tide me over. And, you got to thank your pharmacy. Now, everyone goes to different pharmacy, and everyone will fight. Oh, yes, this pharmacy was so great. I'm not going to argue. I've been with that pharmacy eight years, I guess. Seemed longer, but 8 years. And most requests are pretty quickly covered. And I usually do enough leeway so that I'm not going to be in a crisis predicament. Doesn't always work. Sometimes I have run out of supplies. And it's got to a point when I was on a trip to Fiji, actually. The airline lost my insulin in flight. It was left in Honolulu. So, I joke and I say I had to walk to Fiji. But they said, don't you have a backup? Well, yeah, but a lot of times you can't get backup supplies, because if it goes out of how much your doctor and your pharmacist have written down, you can't sort of say, hey, can I have a bit more of that? Or, hey, there's always limits. And I understand they're trying to control costs. But then everything sort of turns on to us if we run out of something. Well, don't you have a backup supply? No, the amounts that you're given, that PharmaCare says they're allowing you to have, just meets my quota to live off. And while I was in Fiji, finish the story, I had to extend my visit for flights or something, and I ran out of my disposable needles. And I had saved a couple, and I started to reuse those because the ones from the local hospital were like, ugh. And I kind of thought, what do diabetics in Fiji do? At that time, I don't know what they do now, but back in the day, getting supplies are harder. and you don't know everyone else's medical systems, and that's why they suggest when traveling that you go with 2 times the supply or 2.5 times the supply, just to make sure that you are ready to go. That's the important thing. You always want to have your stuff. You want to enjoy your time. You don't want to have to worry, oh my God, where's the drugstore? I have to get insulin, I have to get this. And we've done many videos on medications from another country and how they can play with your diabetes. I was lucky. By the time I got home, I didn't really have a problem. I just went to the drugstore saying, I need these needles. I got them. But if you have to go to a different drugstore and you walk in there and say, hi, I need mono blah 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 needles, and they start questioning you. What do you need it for? How many units do you take? Blah blah blah. Just what's that?